Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 3 of the RRL GT3 Masters Championship. We are at the Imola Grand Prix circuit for round 3 of this championship. We are slightly late with our stream, but we're still right in time to catch the qualifying session for this 90-minute race. But let's first go over the basics. We have an 8-round championship, 2 rounds already done and dusted, and we have some varying race lengths. Race 1 at Shanghai was 90 minutes, last race was 60 minutes, and now again at Imola we have a 90-minute race for our viewers and our racers, and well, that switches things up a little bit in terms of strategy, so that will certainly come into play. We have a 2x tire multiplier for this series, so that's where tire management and strategy come in. Can you make the 90 minutes on a one-stopper, or do you need to come in twice? We saw some different strategies at Shanghai. Motegi was a little bit more straightforward, but there were people staying out the whole race, and it was Nemanja Manojlovic winning that one. That's it for now for our series overview. In the last race, as I said, it was Nemanja Manojlovic winning the race, just in front of David Dorge. Those were 2 drivers with top pace that did not stop. So they didn't switch tires, they went the whole 60 minutes on one set of tires. Nuno Miguel Abreu was the first one of the one-stoppers, and was just not fast enough to catch the 2 guys in front. So strategy 1, good points for Nemanja Manojlovic and David Dorge in Motegi. After 2 rounds, that brings us following standings in this championship. Nemanja Manojlovic is in first position, Vlastimir Lukas in second, and David Dorge in third position. At the moment, Nemanja is the man to beat. He had a solid performance at Shanghai and then a race win at the Twin Ring Motegi. Robert Horvat won the first race, but unfortunately had to retire from the second one, so he dropped back down to 9th spot. But as you know, there is a one dropped round, one worst score will be dropped from the championship standings, as from this round here. So in 2 weeks' time, when we stream our next race, we will have a better view of the standings. Next to our Pro Cup championship, we also have an AM Cup, which includes drivers that have not taken any career podiums here at RRLeagues.com. There's 19 drivers in that championship at the moment. They just race side by side with the pro drivers, but they have their own standings, and you will see that spices things up a little bit, gives us something else to also focus on during these races. It's Jürgen Walby with 60 points, very dominant at the moment, in front of André Mol with 37 points, and Nick Phillips in third position. In terms of the team's championship, it's BH Racing, then SRT, and then 77 for the podium spots. And last but not least, our Ironman championship, which as you can see just counts the amount of laps that the driver has completed and adds them up with or calculates the total distance traveled by the driver, and at the end of the season we will see who has completed the most laps, if not all laps, of the given season. Important here in this championship is that, for example, Nemanja Manojlovic will be excluded from this championship as he was a race winner, so only non-race winners can get away with this championship, and it can be a shared championship trophy for these guys. At the moment, our top 20 looks like this, and we have 11 drivers still on the lead lap, as we say. So then on to the action for today. We are at the legendary Imola Grand Prix circuit, Um, Starting at the start-finish line with the Variante Bassa, which is the old left-right chicane, which is not used anymore. Then fast sweeping Tamburello corner, then difficult braking zone into Villeneuve, and then into Tosa, where there is a good opportunity to make a pass if you get a good run through Villeneuve. Then Piratella, and then you head down the hill into the most famous corner of this circuit, Acqua Minerale, as we hear the cars firing up for the qualifying session in the background. And then hard braking for the Variante Alta, a very tight right-left chicane, setting you up for quite a long straight before you brake on the downhill into Rivazza, which is also a very good passing opportunity. If you cannot pass into Rivazza, you need to get the exit absolutely perfect to take advantage of that long straight, crossing the finish line and having another go. So 90 minutes of this will provide some epic racing, that is absolutely certain. And at the moment we have 27 drivers on the server, so that's a good turnout. 36 have signed up with some reserves, so still quite some people missing, but 27 is far from bad. If you fancy racing with us, we have 2 other series outside of this one running at the moment. We have our DTM championships on Sundays in Race Room Racing Experience, and our BTCC championship in R Factor 2 on the alternating Wednesdays with this championship here. And all 3 are going into round 3 of the championship now. There are still some spots to be taken, so if you want to join us for some racing, make sure to head on over to rrleagues.com. And now, as promised, onto the action qualifying session, as the drivers are just starting their first flying lap. Here we are with Greg Metcalf, who was doing very well in the practice session. He was at the top of the standings at some point, I saw, with a 1:42.7, which is a very good lap time. Wouldn't surprise me if we see 1:41 in the qualifying session, but that will still have to be seen. Here we are with Nemanja Manojlovic. He's a little bit behind Greg Metcalf and our championship leader, so let's see what kind of benchmark he sets, where he ends up after his first flying lap here of Imola. Downhill and then into the braking zone for Acqua Minerale. And then onto the power as early as you can, keeping the revs high so you get that grunt to get up on that steep incline after that corner. And the tight Variante Alta, and then making your way once again down to Rivage. Quite a bit of elevation changes here on this track, which makes it challenging, even more challenging than a normal flat track. Through Rivazza, not perfect in my opinion, but across the line for Nemanja Manojlovic. And that's 1:42.2, so already quicker than Greg Metcalf on his first lap. And now the first times are coming in. Metcalf gets into second. Andre Mol, Horvat Arella, all over a second down on Nemanja Manojlovic at the moment. Marko Televski, the Macedonian in the Callaway Corvette. 10th spot at the moment, no time set yet, as we have another driver joining the grid. So we are at 28 now, and it gets quite busy here on the track, that's for sure. Here's David Torre up the hill through Tosa in the Audi. So second place for him in Japan at Motegi Twin Ring. So very good result from him. Can he build from there? This is a 90-minute race, so a non-stopper will not be an option. But normally a one-stopper to me feels like the way to go. Maybe there are people thinking otherwise, or well, at least doing more practice than I did with these cars around this track. As the times are coming in, Janusz Migas, the first one within 1 second of Manojlovic, Walby just behind. And let's just have a look at the leaderboard for race room with this combination here. Let's see what we come up with. Seeing a 141.7 in the Corvette. Not sure if that is the absolute fastest time, but in any case, that's something to aim for. That's still 5/10 up on Manojlovic's time, and Dore putting himself into second place. Horvat and Papa Michael now in third and fourth. So Horvat improving on his first lap time. Now, if you have any questions about our league, about our drivers, then feel free to ask away in the chat. Invite your friends over if you want. We have Machine Boss. He is sitting out a no qualification penalty for this round, as Jurgen Walby goes into second spot, so our AM Cup leader into P2 overall. As we still have 7 drivers without a lap in, as we reach the halfway point of this qualifying session. Meanwhile, Dore in fourth at the moment. He was improving on his own time, but not anymore. And Nuno Miguel Abreu, who took pole at Shanghai and at the Twin Ring Motegi, if I'm not mistaken, goes into pole position once again with a 142.1. So he is the man to beat in terms of qualifying pace here for this series. Let me quickly check that is correct. Yeah, he took pole at Shanghai and also at the Twin Ring Motegi. He was the fastest of all, just getting into the 47s, and for Shanghai getting into the 202s as the only driver. Can he get in the 141s as the only driver here for this race? That will be the question, and we will have the answer in about 5 minutes time. Jody Barraclaw setting green sectors. He's in 22nd at the moment, surrounded by his countrymen Daniel O'Brien, Nick Phillips, Ben Reynolds, Ethan Curley. So he looks like he will be improving across the line, and he goes up to 20th, so in front of that pack of Brits. at the front. It's tight between Abreu and Manojlovic. Then Walby, Metcalf put himself in 4th, and Dore are over half a second back, so they have some work to do to get a bit closer in any case. Vlastimir Lucas, 2nd place man in the championship. He's in 11th spot right now, improving on his own time, breaking into Rivazza. And making his way down to the start-finish line. Jürgen Walby is setting purple sectors. We'll get to him right now. 5th spot for Vlastimir Lucas, 6/10. Getting very tight there from P5 to P9, and Walby gets into P2 once again, 17 thousandths of a second behind Nuno Miguel Abreu. So no pole position yet for Walby. There will be time for one more timed lap, so if they go out now they will have time for one more flyer. As always, keep repeating it, when the timer hits 0 in race room, the session is over, so you cannot complete your lap. You need to make sure you cross the line and set a lap time before the timer hits 0. Greg Metcalf then into 4th, so everybody improving, and it's mighty close there at the front. Janusz Migas also setting green sectors. He's in 12th at the moment, but he has space for more. I'm sure of that. He was a bit further up in the first few races, up into P7. It's getting very tight there indeed. Ben Reynolds, he's down in 24th at the moment, but also improving in the green BMW M6. Let's have a quick look at our reigning champion Robert Horvat, wide out of the Variante Alta. He is quicker, improving on his own time. Nuno Miguel Abreu is setting purple sectors. We'll keep an eye out and move to him once Robert crosses the line. Will he improve from P5? Cutting the track as much as he can. He's in P5 now, and he stays in P5. What's Nuno doing? Cross the line, and a 141.9. The first driver into the 41s. Will he take another pole position with this time, being the only ones in that 141 bracket? Ralph Varela, purple first sector. He's in 12th position at the moment. Will the Porsche driver keep it together? Yeah. He's our longest standing #1 ranked driver, Ralph Varela, through Aqua Minerale. So the Corvette in front does not impede him, he stays in front. It's not ideal. Oh, green sector time, not bad, but no, that's qualifying over for Ralph Varela. Very unfortunate. He was set for a good lap. Greg Metcalf then, the purple sector, and a very good one at that. 1/10 up on Nuno Miguel Abreu's time. At the moment, Greg Metcalf, the only one setting purple sectors. The rest of the drivers are improving on their own time, but not on the top time by Miguel Abreu. Through the Variante Alta, a green sector time. He is in 4th, Greg, so can he improve? He needs to find 4/10 on Manojlovic. 40 seconds to go. Through Rivazza, and then the run down to start finish. Will Greg Metcalf improve from P3? No, he doesn't. He gets a bit closer. 1/10 of Nemanja Manojlovic, but he stays in 4th spot. Looks like Nuno Miguel Abreu will make it 3 on the trot. 3 pole positions for Nuno Miguel Abreu. It is confirmed now. And here we see the complete qualifying results. Very evenly spread times there throughout the whole field. And in 1 minute time our race will start. So let me get a quick drink and I'll be right there with you. So 10 seconds to go until the race start. Everybody lining up on the grid. Here they are, the lights are on. And off we go. Nuno Miguel Abreu gets away cleanly, he is on the inside, there's a bit of smoke at the back, but everybody gets through cleanly. Robert Horvat on the outside there, and it looks like Jürgen Walby. Oh, there's a collision there. It's one of the green. It's Ralph Arella dropping back. It seems we have Walby in 2nd spot in the Manfilter Mercedes. Robert Horvat now making it up into P3, and then it's Greg Metcalf in P4. Nemanja Manojlovic dropped down to 6th spot, and it was Vlastimir Lukas. He's dropping back, so there was some kind of drama there at the back of the pack. Vlastimir has his work cut out for him in the next 90 minutes, that's for sure. Let's have a quick rundown here as we almost reach the end of lap 1. Nuno Miguel Abreu followed by Jürgen Walby, Robert Horvat, Greg Metcalf, David Dore. That's your top 5. Then Nemanja Manojlovic in 6th, Jack Camaletto doing very well, making up some spots from his qualifying position. Ralph Arella, Nikos Papamichail, Andre Mol to round up your top 10. And it's Jess Forsberg, Chabot Albertini filling him up into P13, Talevski, Marazzi, Reynolds, Wyatt, Britton, Nigel Wood. So everything still quite close. Lucas, he is trying to get past Henk-Jan Stenneke in another Audi. So there was a bit of an incident there, gaps there at the back a little bit bigger, but the top 24 covered by 15 seconds at the moment. So everything still looking good. Will Vlastimir Lukas make the pass for P25 onto Henk-Jan Stenneke? Let's have a quick look through Tamburello. No, he doesn't, but Henk-Jan... Oh! Vlastimir trying to go around the outside there and got caught out a bit. Looked like that from here on the TV cam. Not sure if Henk-Jan was to blame there. All the way back down to last spot for Lucas. Luckily we have 90 minutes of racing for him left to do. Nuno Miguel Abreu through the Aqua Minerali complex for the 2nd time of asking. And this is a familiar sight. He was at the front of 2 of the races. Shanghai he was in front for half the race, more or less. At Motegi it was the same first half of the race. He was at the front, then he had a pit stop, and Manojlovic and Dore were smarter than him, didn't stop, and he just couldn't catch them. I think he also got a drive-through penalty, but I'm not so sure anymore about that. So the top two getting away a little bit from Robert Horvat. That's very, very clear. The gap between Walby and Horvat, almost 2 seconds now. And it's 2 Mercedes, then a Porsche, another Mercedes, an Audi and a Corvette for your top 6. So a good spread of cars, but the Mercedes looking very, very good. Oh, and it's position change there between Manojlovic and Arella. They are side by side, the Corvette and the Porsche. Some good respect shown there, side by side, but no incidents. Manojlovic going as wide as he can, and Arella trying to go for the undercut in the yellow Porsche. And he's on the inside for the next turn here. Can he keep it there and make a move into Acqua Minerale? No, he can't. So he will need to try again. Arella and Manojlovic. That is for P7, as Albertini is pointing the wrong way, making his way down to Acqua Minerale. He rejoins just behind Henk-Jan Stenneker and in front of Yevgeny Lazarenko. Horvat now closing down that gap once again to Walby and Abreu. So looks like Horvat is, let's see, a bit quicker through the corners, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to see here on the straight what happens if he loses a lot of time. Well, a little bit, but it's not huge. Well, already lost 3/10, almost 4/10 on the main straight. He loses to Walby. So well, looks like Horvat has a little bit more wing than these 2 Mercedes guys at the front. That might help him in the long run, that's for sure, but he will need to find a clever way to get past. So our top 5 breaking clear of Jack Camaletto. Yes, Manojlovic and Arella right behind. Papa Michael and Forsberg round up the top 10. And Manojlovic in the gravel, so he must have had a touch with Arella. Our championship leader rejoining the track in P14, and Mike Wyatt looking to get back past. And as you can see here, the battle around the top 15, very, very hectic. These guys all spread out, covered by 2 seconds. That's almost 8 cars spread by 2 seconds. So that's always very, very nice to see. It doesn't matter for which position you are fighting, there is always a good fight to be had in these races at RRLeagues.com. Only 7 minutes gone in this race, and already plenty of action to show you. Once again, if you like the stream, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, share it with your friends. If you have any questions, feel free to ask away on the chat. Once again, Horvat losing some time there on the longer straights in the first sector, and then closing back down through these slower corners where you need some more downforce to get your power down early. So he can stay within reach. Let's have a look at the last lap times. 43.7 for our race leader Abreu, 43.6 for Walby, 43.8 for Horvat, 43.6 again for Metcalf. So he's looking quite quick. Fastest car at the moment in terms of lap time, best lap is for Jürgen Walby. So that is also our AM Cup race leader. In second spot we have Jack Camaletto, and let me see who is in third. That should be think it's Ben Reynolds. No, sorry, Ben is not in the AM Cup. I'll find out for you what is happening. What is happening there in the AM Cup? Just need to find third spot. That should be Merazzi then, as Stalewski is not in the AM Cup. The rest of the guys in front, except for Jack Camaletto, aren't either. And now the gap between Abreu and Walby slightly increasing. But the action is right here at the bottom end of the top 20. Janusz Migas getting past Nick Phillips on the inside. Mercedes on Audi. Oh, and there's Merazzi dropping down in the pink Mercedes. So Merazzi dropping back down from P3 in the AM Cup. Will now be Mike Wyatt, who is in third spot for that championship. So Ben Reynolds, he is putting pressure on our current championship leader. And that is for P13, well, for P12 actually. We have Marko Talewski right in front. And the gap between Horvat and Welby hovering around 1.5 seconds the whole time. Vlastimir Lucas, keep an eye out for him. He's in 26th now. My screen's not showing any big damage for him, so that is a positive thing. But we'll have to see. Drop back down to P27. So he's struggling with his car. That's a fact. Look at this gaggle of cars led by Clive Britton. He has Migash, Phillips, Mull, Wood, O'Brien, Boss and Merazzi right behind him. And Jody Barraclaw out of Rivazza got onto the power too early. And that's another pink Mercedes into the wall. He rejoins in 25th position right in front of Ethan Kearley and Vlastimir Lucas there in the background. Let's have a quick look if Lucas can make the pass. Moves to the outside. Oh, and we have a position change for P3. And Lucas has to stay behind. As I said, Greg Metcalf, the fastest car on the track, made it past Robert Horvat. Oh, and we have Abreu dropping down to P5. So Nuno Miguel Abreu made a mistake and loses his first spot. He's now in P5 behind David Doro. So that puts our AM Cup championship leader in the lead of this race. Can he keep this one together for the next 80 minutes? That will be the question. And it's a battle of the yellow-green cars at the front. The Manfilter Mercedes of Walby and Metcalf against the yellow and green Porsche of Robert Horvat. Metcalf in third spot now once again, and David Dugger just sitting there patiently waiting for these guys to maybe make a mistake. Oh, but well, he's not waiting, he's getting on with it. Riding from the splitter cam. A nice view of our top three. So now with clear air, the fastest lap time for Walby was a 43.0. Let's see what he can do in clean air and without any traffic to manage, because that will come into play in well, not immediately, but in the next few minutes and in a couple of laps. There will be some traffic coming up for these guys. to see if Abreu can close that gap back down to our top 4 and challenge. There's Manojlovic, Talevski, Forsberg, the teammates in the 3 Corvettes battling it out for what's essentially P11. Well, no, P10 actually. P10, Talevski's in P10. Fillingham, meanwhile, made it up into P9. So, going a bit better than in the first 2 rounds for him. Jody Barraclaw, track limits earns him a drive-through as Manojlovic gets past Talevski and gets up into P10 after his mistake there in the opening phases. So Jody Barraclaw, he is P26 at the moment, and he will have to come through the pits for track limits abuse. We'll have to see if that catches out anyone else, that's for sure. Meanwhile, Ralph Arella versus Jack Camaletto, that's for P6. Ralph is on the inside now for Aqua Minerale. He should get the job done. Yes, he does. And Jack in the McLaren will need to slot in behind, but in a good spot there for the AM Cup, that's for sure. He can't touch Jürgen Walby at the moment, and that puts Arella now into clean air, trying to hunt down that top 5 with Nuno Miguel Abreu. Getting closer, that's for sure. Getting closer to the top 4 once again. So let's see if this heats up with Ralph Arella also joining the party for our race lead. Up and down the field there are battles everywhere. Marcin Bos battling it out for P21 with Henk-Jan Stenneker in front and Janusz Migasz in his rear view mirror in the Marcin is in the Garage 59 McLaren 650S. Have to keep an eye on the front. He might break loose at any point. Can Marcin get past Janusz? That's will be the question. He can't for now, so he needs to stay behind. No, sorry, he got passed by Janusz, so dropping back down to P23. So here we are, Nuno Miguel Abreu recovering from his off and right on the tailpipes of David Dore in the Audi, and our race leader is still within reach, so nothing is lost for Nuno Miguel Abreu. He has the ultimate pace, that's for sure. I'll have to see if he can stay mistake-free for the next 75 minutes to maybe take his first win here in this championship. He is looking very, very quick here on the straight. Meanwhile, Simon Fillingham filling the rear view mirror of Nikos Papamichail into Tamburello. The left-right-left complex needs to stay behind. Who has the pace there from these two? They are very evenly matched, but at the moment Fillingham is quicker than Nikos. And Migasz really trying to move up the order. Almost got past Henk-Jan Stenneker, but he was on the outside line there. Makes it very difficult to make a pass. I have to keep an eye out for that battle, that's for sure. back to Abreu. And well, the places 2 to 5 are very, very close, and that means that Walby is getting a bit of a breather. He has a 1.5 second gap to Robert Horvat behind. Oh, and a bit wide there for Abreu. He might be overdriving the car a little bit, trying to compensate for his mistake. As Nigel Wood and Nick Phillips change positions. Oh, through the Variante Alta, it's Nick Phillips losing out. Was that a mistake? We just came in too late for that. But anyway, everything now settling down except for the battle at the front, and then this battle between Migash and Stenneker, and Fillingham hunting down Papa Michael for P8. Those are the three big battles that are on, and Horvat, yeah, he's the slowest of the top 5 at the moment. We're off for the last lap. So he is keeping the guys behind up a little bit. And Migash goes through on Stenneker. Very well done by him. He's up into P21 and everything still to gain. Gaps in front are still manageable, so if he has the pace, he can move up very quickly, especially through the pit cycle. And that's something that we'll have to see how that plays out. Will everybody go for one stopper and drive for 45 minutes on these tires, or is the track surface too abrasive, and will they have to stop twice? Keep an eye out on that lead battle for sure, but Simon Fillingham in the 650S is looking very interested in that P8 of Nikos Papamichail as they pass Frederikos Vanger for a lapping action. Raffaella cannot match the pace of the top 5 in front. He is dropping back from the back of Nuno Miguel Abreu. But well, as soon as these guys really start battling at the front, that gap might come down very quickly. So let's see. He is pulling away from Jack Camaletto, that's for sure. Fillingham and Papa Michael are 2 seconds behind Jack. Jack is also Simon's teammate, so let's see how that plays out. Chas Forsberg is also right there with them, and he is the teammate of Papa Michael. So it's an inter-team battle between Manojlovic, Fillingham, Camaletto and Forsberg. Let's have a quick look here, because it's heating up side by side, Metcalf and Horvat. But Horvat stays in front. Oh, and that's Merazzi through the Variante Alta, losing his front splitter, getting 100% damage on my screen as well, so he will have to dive into the pits, unfortunately. Let's quickly move back, because Nuno Miguel Abreu is really putting the pressure on, as Jurgen Walby just eases out a 2-second gap here at the front. Manojlovic is joining that party with Fillingham and Papa Michael, so we'll have to see what that brings for us. There's not enough cameras to follow everything, unfortunately, so we'll have to pick our battles. Quick look. Fillingham looks like he does have the pace to get past Papa Michael, so he needs to do that as quickly as he can. Because Nemanja Manojlovic behind is no slouch, and if he gets past, he might get out of that zone he's in right now. Again, Abreu mere thousandths of a second behind Dorre, but it's not meant to be, and that lost Dorre quite a bit of time to Greg Metcalfe in front. All still within one shot after 25 minutes of racing. Abreu needs to find a way past quickly, and he needs to do it safely. That's the most important thing. So we know for a fact that there will be a pit stop, at least one. We also know that the undercut does work, so once these tires start to go off, and that will be the case after 45 minutes approximately, that the lap times drop off significantly, and we can gain some track positions with an undercut. Of course, you need to manage those tires to the end then, so we'll have to see what that means in terms of strategy for this race. Looking at the AM Cup, it's Jürgen Walby in first spot overall, and of course first in the AM Cup. Jack Camaletto still holding on to that P7 spot, and P2 in the AM Cup, and then it's Mike Wyatt, if I'm not mistaken, in third spot for the AM Cup, but he's closely followed by Andre Mull, Daniel O'Brien, who are also in fighting for that championship. So things are far from over there as well. Here we have our two retirements of the race so far, Stefano Merazzi and Jody Barraclaw. Unfortunately, two pink Mercedes. We're looking to be very, very strong here on this track. Clive Britton versus Ben Reynolds versus Talevski. Also a nice battle, some good variety. Corvette, BMW, Corvette. There are 6 cars of each car brand here in this series. We have BMW, Porsche, Corvette, Mercedes, Audi and McLaren, and each represented by 6 cars, so always nice to see that. Horvat now within 1 second once again of Jürgen Walby. So a mistake or an invalid lap time there for Walby on the last time around, a 44.0 for Horvat. That's not bad considering we are already racing for 30 minutes. So Horvath finding his pace and maybe his higher wing settings helping him out just a little bit. Miguel Abreu unfortunately dropping back a bit from Dorge, so losing some pace, maybe choosing to just hang back a little bit, do his laps and extend his first stint on the tires, because it only matters which position you are in when you cross the finish line. So that should be your goal, as we have just for a second Vlastimir Lucas versus Marcin Bos. Vlastimir Lucas goes through and he's up into P20 after his horrible race start here in the first 2 to 3 laps. He had a couple of incidents, spinners, and he was at some point dead last, but making his way back up the grid. Next up is Henk-Jan Stenneker. He is 6 seconds up the road. So our top 5 has become more of a top 4 now, as we are of our top 4 in one shot, and Nuno Abreu just hanging on. Ralph Arella is keeping that gap between him and Abreu at about 9 seconds, so that is still manageable. Papa Michael, he's coming into the pits for some tires. He did do the same. He went for a 2-stopper at Shanghai as well. Didn't work out for him due to an incident, but he's doing that once again. So that means Fillingham, I was trying to say, got past, but he is behind Manojlovic and Forsberg. So Fillingham not getting that P8 that he wanted. He's now back down in P2, P10, but as you can see, right behind Forsberg and Manojlovic. Papa Michael gets going again in P23, and let's just keep an eye out for any people that might try the same strategy. So in 2x2 formation, looking back from our race leader, it's Robert Horvath right behind, and then Metcalf versus Dorge for P3 and P2. And Horvath now, he is able to stay with Walby on the straight, so slipstream really helping him, and then he is quicker through the corners with his higher wing setting. Well, that's what I'm expecting, what we are seeing here in terms of where these drivers achieve their lap times. Ben Reynolds is having a real cracker of a race. Also Simon Fillingham, Clive Britton. He's really hounding down Ben Reynolds. Ooh, very wide there. But they're having a ball. And also Simon Fillingham really looking quicker than Forsberg and Manojlovic. Can he make the pass on track? That will be the question. Or does he need a pit stop cycle to get through cleanly? It's not the easiest track to pass on. There are some opportunities, but you need some cooperation, and it's quite straightforward to defend the passing lines if you are really on your toes and willing to do everything to keep your position. So Forsberg will not move over that easily. That's for sure. Guys here managing lapped traffic. That should be Ethan Kearley. Yes, it is. to this battle for now. So it's Talevski from Reynolds from Britain. Who do they have behind? I think it's Nick Phillips. He's a lapped car. He's trying to unlap himself. Let me just quickly check. Yeah, it is Nick Phillips. Oh, and a bit of a touch there between Talevski in the red Corvette. He gets going again. Ben Reynolds is behind him. So unfortunately an incident there between those two, and Papa Michael in the pits and not for a regular pit stop, so he retires from this race. Must have had some kind of incident, I think, but retiring from this race, so we will not see if his two-stop strategy, and that's what I was thinking, if that strategy is worth a go. Horvat staying on that gearbox of Walby. Dorge now dropping back from Metcalf a little bit, and Miguel Abreu is right back with them. So three retirements so far. Once again the leaders catching some traffic. It's the blue, I think it's the blue BMW of Nigel Wood, who's flickering on the server, or it's Fredericus Wenger in the Porsche. Yeah, it's the Porsche, letting the leaders past on the run down to the Variante Alta. Oh, and Walby goes wide. This is the perfect opportunity for Horvat to get through. He is on the outside, however, for Rivazza, but he gets in front before the braking zone. Our current championship title holder gets into first place with 53 minutes to go, after a slight mistake there by Jürgen Walby. Can Jürgen fight back? I think he has the pace to do so, and we'll have to see if that closes the battle at the front back down or not. Meanwhile, Vlastimir Lucas closed that 6-second gap to Henk-Jan Stenneker down very, very quickly, and is now right on his tail. Can he make his pass stick? I think he has tried through 2 or 3 times already with Stenneker, and it didn't work out. So he wants to get past as quick as possible, and then his next target should be Daniel O'Brien, but he's 10 seconds up the road, so that will not be as easy of a task. Fillingham, he is the next one of the pit stoppers. He's in for tires in the McLaren 650S. Did have the pace. Let's hope this pit stop doesn't break his concentration, and he can challenge Forsberg, Camaletto, his teammate, and Manojlovic for that P8, P7 region of the standings. Walby and Metcalf doing very well. Let me just quickly check if they are indeed in a team. I think they are. Yeah. Atomic Motorsport, Jürgen Walby and Greg Metcalf doing very well in 2nd and 3rd. And Arella with Robert Horvat also not too shabby. Nuno Miguel Abreu now also in the pits. together with Steneker, I think. Yeah, Steneker was also just in the pits. Miguel Abreu now losing some spots, but if he gets a good pit stop, that could throw the whole top of the standings around. Also Manojlovic is in the pits, so pit cycle is starting with 15 minutes to go. Charles Forsberg is also in. Manojlovic is now dropping back. He gets going once again, just in front of another Mercedes coming into the pits. That's André Mol. So Manojlovic, Miguel Abreu rejoins the track in 14th, and then he gets a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I think he had the same at Motegi. He will be so mad at himself, throwing away a possible race win. It was possible once again after a pole position in a very good first stint. We'll have to see where he ends up, but very unfortunate there for Miguel Abreu, and drama once again for him. He has 5 rounds left after this one to try and win a race in this series, and I'm sure he will be trying again and again. Of course, a drive-through doesn't lose you heaps of time, about 10 to 15 seconds, so everything might still be possible. Meanwhile, at the front it's still Horvat and Walby, and then Metcalf and Dorre behind. So this is our top 4 of the race after 40 minutes of racing. Oh, that took me a long time. Jack Camaletto, meanwhile, still driving around and doing very, very well to keep out of trouble. If we look at the best lap times, all the guys in front of him are doing 43, mid 43s as best lap times, or low 43s. He's doing 44.2s, and some guys behind are potentially quicker than him, but he's one of the consistent ones, as we have this battle brewing here between Nigel Wood and Ethan Kearley. Nigel Wood gets side by side. Oh, there's a small touch, and Jack needs to try and get through, but also not get into an incident. Oh, they're side by side. Ethan stays in front, but they need to let Horvat is in the pits, sorry. But they need to let Jack Camaletto through. Nigel understood that message. He gets through, but Henk-Jan Steneker is now right back with these guys as well. So Jack is the quick car here, flashing his lights. He wants to get past these guys as quickly as he can, but well, they are in the battle of their own. Can Steneker make the pass stick on Nigel Wood? Oh, very, very late braking for Steneker, and he will lose out. Fortunately, he doesn't take out Jack Camaletto in the process. Jack still needs to get past Ethan Kearley. Horvat gets going again in the pits. So let's cross our fingers and hope he doesn't get a drive-through penalty as well. It is possible, but looks like he doesn't. So our race leader was into the pits with a normal pit stop. At least that's what I could see. Let's see what the guys behind him are doing. Will they come in at the first given opportunity, or will they stay out and hope for the best at the end of the race with their tires? Pit cycles now going through, so it will all get a bit bunched up. Miguel Abreu 23 seconds behind Robert Horvat, so that means he did take his drive-through penalty already, and well, that's about the gap that he will need to bridge to try and get back to a race-winning position. Walby and Dore are into the pits, which puts Greg Metcalf into the race lead, and Ralph Arella 12 seconds behind him in P2. Let's keep an eye out on Robert Horvat. He was in P1. He's now behind Vlastimir Lucas, who made it up to P9. He hasn't pitted yet. Also Jack Camaletto in the pit lane. Horvat through Rivazza. Walby, he is already going. Let's have a quick look. Sorry, here's Horvat. Walby is in front. He did have a better pit stop, it seems, but Horvat will just have the speed to get back past him for the race lead. Very, very tight there indeed. And Dore having a not so great pit stop. He's 8 seconds behind these guys now, so he is losing out in the pit stops for sure. So the lead battle is now up to Horvat and Walby, and potentially Metcalf, who is in front. Arella now closing down, so Metcalf is in the pits. Yeah. Also Vlastimir Lucas is in the pits. Ralph Arella also dives into the pits. So as the guys go through here, it's Metcalf and Arella in the pits from P1 and 2. We'll have to keep an eye out for Robert Horvat. Well, let's have a look from Jürgen Walby's perspective. See if we can see Greg Metcalf coming out of the pits. He's still on the jacks together with Ralph Arella. Still on the jacks. Well, there they go. They get going, but race leader is already passed. So here are Horvat and Walby. Metcalf coming out of the pit lane now. Ralph Arella, he's only 3 to 4 seconds back now. So that means he gained a huge amount of time on these guys as well. Nuno Miguel Abreu is not too far back either. So once Clive Britton stops for his pit stop, we'll have the complete picture here for this race at the moment. But I can tell you it's Horvat and Walby fighting for the race lead. Then it's Dore 7 seconds behind. He has Metcalf 4 seconds behind, and another 5 seconds to Ralph Arella, who is 3 seconds in front of Nuno Miguel Abreu. So it all calmed down a little bit, except for the race lead, and that's what we're all looking for, of course, a battle for the race lead. Let me take a quick drink and I'll be right back with you. So here we are back for the action from the Imola Grand Prix circuit for the RRL GT3 Masters Championship, as Simon Fillingham looks at the outside line into Aqua Minerale against Marcin Bos, the Polish driver. He started from the back with a no qualification penalty, but making it into the top 10 just now. It's a battle of the McLaren brand, and Simon Fillingham's teammate Jack Camaletto is right there in front of them. So Simon wants to follow through and get some good points for the team. He'll get another run out of Rivazza and onto the main straight. Can Marcin defend? Defend the inside line. Yes, he does. Can Simon go around the outside? Oh, switches back to the inside. Hard braking. Just a little touch there, but he needs to stay behind. Now he gets a good run. Moves to the inside, and now he has overlap. Can he make it stick? No. He tries to make that corner as wide as possible, as Ethan Kearney gets a drive-through penalty for track limit abuse. Oh, very late braking there for Simon Fillingham. And now also Bos almost getting a tank slapper. Can Simon go around the outside here? He needs to be on the outside line for Aqua Minerale. Great battle here to watch from the onboard. In my opinion, Simon should just hang back a little bit, get a good exit out of Rivazza, for example. Not compromised by Marcin in front. Goes for the inside here. And Simon Fillingham goes through. So he gets through in the end. Lost a bit of time to his teammate, but it's P9 and 10 for the McLaren 650S drivers in objective racing. Gap at the front still under 1 second, so Horvat and Walby not giving each other an inch. The gap to Dore behind is 7 seconds. And still 5 seconds to Greg Metcalf, 4 seconds to Arella. And Nuno Miguel Abreu is now starting to battle with our #1 ranked driver for so many weeks. Will he find a way past? That will for sure not be easy. Oh, and that battle with Marcin Bos, of course, should have known was not really for position, so that's a bit of a shame for Fillingham that he had to put that much effort into that for Marcin to just get into his pit box and disappear from his rearview mirror now. A bit wide there for Arella. Will he defend into Rivazza? I think he will have to, or Nuno Miguel Abreu can get past, but very nicely done into the braking zone for Ralph Arella. Meanwhile, Vlastimir Lucas, he is up into P16, so still moving up the grid, and Marcin Bos gets a drive-through for speeding in the pit lane. Very unfortunate for him as well. Quite a lot of drivers getting caught out by that. It's a fast entry, so you need to get your speed down well in time. Miguel Abreu now right on the rear wing of Arella. And there's a position change for the race lead. Walby gets past Robert Horvat, as we were trying to catch that battle between Abreu and Arella. It's a Mercedes driver back in front. Very nicely done by Jürgen, and judging by the gap, wasn't a really big mistake by Robert Horvat or a clean move by Walby to take that first spot. So can Robert stay with Jürgen? There's still 35 minutes of racing left. Plenty of opportunities to get past, plenty of opportunities to make mistakes. So this is far from over. If these guys really start to battle for that lead position, Dore, Metcalf, Arella and Abreu will be right on their tails very, very quickly. We'll have to monitor that gap. Nuno Miguel Abreu has the fastest lap in the bag for now, a 1:42.1. The only one getting close to him is Walby, our current race leader, with a 1:42.8, so 7/10 slower on ultimate pace here in the race. So Nuno Miguel Abreu really is the man to beat in terms of pace, but he needs to find some A, consistency, B, mistake-free driving, and well, a bit of luck with those drive-throughs. I think you are on the edge, and you just try to do it as much as you can. And as Abreu now gets past Arella, just caught that in time into the Variante Alta, so good exit from Aqua Minerale. And that's Abreu now released, maybe to hunt down Greg Metcalf. Let's see what he can do there, and if Arella can stay with him. I'm suspecting he can't, unless Abreu has ruined his tires behind Arella, of course. I don't think that is the case, so we'll have to see if Abreu can hunt down Metcalf. That's for sure. Horvat keeping the gap between him and Walby at about half a second, so that is nothing. Abreu, he's back behind Arella now, so a mistake from the Portuguese driver, I suspect. He has to do it all over again. Very, very unfortunate for him, as Jack Camaletto is really hunting down Jas Forsberg now. They are in a race-long battle already. We'll have to keep an eye out for this battle as well. Very, very difficult. I hope you guys can follow it with the timing screens on the left. I have many screens open here, so that's why I don't always catch the live action on the stream, but rather catch it on the timing screens I am looking at. Outside line for Camaletto into Rivazza. Can he go around the outside? No, he can't. It's never an easy task, of course, to do that. So Abreu braking for Tamburello. He's sliding around quite a bit. Abreu taking a bit of life out of his tires, it seems. Hopping the curbs there for both drivers. And half an hour still to go, so 2/3 of the way down Should have seen Papa Michael pit around this time once again for a two-stop strategy, but it was not to be. He is in the pit lane and retired from this race, as is Nick Phillips. Unfortunately, he retired from this race with an incident. Battle for the lead. Into Rivazza, a bit wide there for Walby, tighter line for Horvat. But well, the initial grunt of the Mercedes just eases Walby out of reach for Horvat, it seems, and well, that doesn't make it easier for him to try and get back past. This is a very hard track to be on the limit of these fast sections. There's no real runoff area, so if you get it wrong, you're on the grass and losing time. A very good track for some good racing though. So as you can see, battles up and down the field. We still have Miguel Abreu hunting down Arella, still Camaletto hunting down Forsberg. And Vlastimir Lucas is now in 14th spot. He has Clive Britton and Andre Mol not too far in front of him. Through the Variante Alta. It's always a bit of a difficult moment. You need to get onto the power as early as you can, and that is certainly not easy. Once again, into Aqua Minerale now. Can Jack Camaletto get past Chas Forsberg? Chas with some very good defensive driving here so far. Not close enough for Camaletto. He needs to well, be patient. Gap in front of Jas Forsberg is 16 seconds, so that's quite a big of a gap. So Camaletto has a bit of time, let's say, to try and get past Forsberg. Meanwhile, his teammate Simon Fillingham is getting a bit closer. Oh. And again, we missed it. Horvat is back in front of Walby. I just saw it happening. It's another lead change here at the Imola Grand Prix circuit. Meanwhile, Dorga is only 6 to 7 seconds behind these guys. So just setting some good lap times and getting through the race. He, if I'm not mistaken, he is in second position of the championship. Let me quickly check that. No, in third. His teammate Vlastimir Lucas is in second, but that will all be switched up after this race. I think Vlastimir Lucas in the points, but not doing great here. Walby doing very well at the moment. Horvat as well. So we'll have to see what that means for the championship standings for the next round. Miguel Abreu side by side into Rivazza, but he needs to stay behind Ralph Arella. There's no way past the Porsche at the moment. There's Lucas versus Britain. Oh, very wide there for Lucas. Let's hope he doesn't get any drive-through penalties for that. Not at this point, that's for sure. Rivazza, the double left-hander. Good exit for Lucas, who's missing one headlight. Can he get close enough to Britain to make a move into Tamburello? Shows his nose, gets closer, closer, closer. Will Britain defend the inside line? No, he doesn't. And that gives Lucas 13th spot, so moving up the order very, very nicely. Andre Mol is his next target, if he can stay in front. Oh, Miguel Abreu in the Variante Alta, losing the spot to Manojlovic. Yeah, Forsberg is quite a way behind, so essentially just losing one spot there, Abreu, after a mistake. Well, yeah, overdriving the car as Camaletto gets side by side with Forsberg through the Variante Alta. He is on the inside for the Rivazza braking zone, and also it's getting close for the lead. Bit of a touch there between Camaletto and Forsberg. Camaletto goes through and Forsberg on the grass. So that's a position change for Camaletto, finally getting past Jas Forsberg. A bit forceful maybe, but he gets through. It's not looking like he will let Forsberg back past to admit his mistake. So I think that was a fair battle from my perspective, at least. Walby made a mistake. He's now 2.5 seconds behind our race leader. That will not be easy to catch back up, that's for sure. Horvat won the first race at Shanghai, and it's looking quite good for him here for round 3. So then his retirement at Motegi 2 weeks ago is compensated, let's say. Manojlovic is already back behind Nuno Miguel Abreu, so he got back past very, very quickly. For P6. So it's the two top teams, Horvat and Arella, Metcalf and Walby, it seems at the moment, and Dore with his teammate Vlastimir Lucas. They will score some good points if Vlastimir keeps moving up at this rate. He's within half a second now of Andre Mol already, so he is slicing through the field like a maniac. Can he get the job done at the first given opportunity? Getting past into Tamburello is not the easiest task of the world, so might just as well wait until there's a safer opportunity to get past. Because if you have an incident, you will lose all the progress that you have gained over the last 70 minutes. This is currently the closest battle on the track. Side by side now for Lucas and Mol, making their way down to Aqua Minerale, and I think Lucas had to slightly brake there to not get into the back of Mol. Oh, there's a move coming into the Variante Alta now. Late braking. Can he get it through the chicane? Yes, he does. And Vlastimir Lucas gets up to P12. Janusz Migas is 8 seconds up the road. Will be a nice challenge to catch him in 20 minutes time. That will not be easy for sure. Getting past, of course, gets progressively harder. So our race leader is Robert Horvat. 3.5 seconds back is Jürgen Walby, and he has David Dore also 3.5 seconds behind. So that's our top 3 after 70 minutes, covered by about 7 seconds, which is not too bad, that's for sure. Henk-Jan Stenneker battling it out with Ben Reynolds. Henk-Jan having a great race at Motegi until the last 5 to 10 minutes. He was right up there for the podium spots, but it wasn't meant to be. Also Clive Britton now trying to follow through with Vlastimir Lucas, trying to get past André Mol as soon as he can. Horvat on the last lap, 3/10 quicker than Walby, so at the moment it doesn't look like Walby has the pace to get back close to Horvat for our race win. Walby dropping back, it seems. No, sorry, it's Abreu in the grass who is messing up the timing sheets. He gets going again and he rejoins in 7th spot. Jack Camaletto is the car behind, so Miguel Abreu showing some great pace in the opening stages of this race, but then after a slight mistake in the drive-through penalty, looks like he just lost some of his concentration, which is easy to do if things don't go your way. He does still have the fastest lap of the race on his name, and if no one of the top drivers will stop again, that will stay as it is. David Dore, meanwhile, looks like he is closing down the gap on Jürgen Walby. Looking at the M Cup, we have Walby in first, Camaletto in second, and then André Mol in 3rd spot. They are quite mixed, and Walby made a mistake. Dore gets past. So Dore back up into P2. Big drama there for Jürgen Walby. It's not meant to be. He was in 1st spot not too long ago, but now he's dropping back with some small mistakes, and I think that's Stenneker behind. Yes, it is. That's a lapped car. The Craig Metcalf car, his teammate, is about 7 seconds behind. So Horvat now has a 6-second cushion for the race lead. Can David Dora do something about that in these closing stages of the race? 15 minutes to go, and there's everything still to play for Clive Britton. Getting it on with Andre Mol into Rivazza. Tires will be getting worn now here at the end of the stints. Side by side between the two. Clive is on the outside for the Tamburello, and he slots in behind, moves to the inside. Can he make late braking? No, he doesn't. He will have to fight another lap with Andre Mol. So as we get into the closing stages of this race, let's have a quick rundown of the field. Race leader Robert Horvat, followed by David Dora, 5 seconds behind. Jürgen Walby is in 3rd spot. Greg Metcalf, his teammate, is in 4th. Then it's Ralph Arella in P5, in quite a lonely place as well. Then it's Manojlovic in 6th, doing quite well after a recovery drive in the first stint. Then it's Nuno Miguel Abreu in 7th, Jack Camaletto in 8th, Jas Forsberg not too far behind in 9th, and Simon Fillingham rounding up the top 10. Then it's Vlastimir Lucas in P11, Andre Mol in 12th, Clive Britton right behind in 13th, Marko Talevski is in 14th at the moment. And it's Mike Wyatt, Ben Reynolds and Henk-Jan Stenneker. And we have Daniel O'Brien, Evgeny Lazarenko still running, Nigel Wood, Marcin Bos and Szabolcs Albertini. Our non-finishers at the moment are Nick Phillips, Nikos Papamichail, Stefano Merazzi and Jody Barraclaw. Clive Britton versus Andre Mol, that's our closest battle at the moment. It's for P12, so at the bottom part of the points scoring positions, but still very much worth to battle for. Very late braking there for Clive, missing the first apex. Almost 80 minutes of racing under our belts. Gaps are not extremely big, that's for sure. Vlastimir Lucas is now onto the back of Simon Fillingham. Can Vlastimir get into the top 10 from all the way down in P29 at the start of lap 2 of the race, more or less? Wide there for Britain, and Vlastimir already got past Fillingham, who's immediately 5 seconds behind. So Fillingham struggling with his tires here at the end of this race. That's a fact. Robert Horvat in front. I think managing the gap, not doing anything stupid, and just keeping that 5 to 6 second lead over David Dore. Jürgen Walby is within striking distance of Dore, but at the moment doesn't get close enough to really make a move. With exactly 10 minutes to go now in this race, anything can still happen, but the cards have been shuffled quite well now, and it will be difficult to still make big changes in that. Vlastimir Lukas now has an 18-second gap to Forsberg in front, so if he manages to close that gap down, he should be a very happy boy. Charles Forsberg, as we can see, only 3 seconds behind Jack Camaletto, so not really letting him get away that far. And a lot of invalidated lap times on my screen the last few minutes. No penalties, but the drivers are really getting liberal with those track limits. It's the game that, or the sim, let's say, that decides on those limits and whether you get a penalty or not. So it's the same for everybody, and you need to try and take advantage of it. Oh, yeah, yes indeed. Looking at the comments, we have lost Janusz Migas. It's not on my screen anymore, so his game crashed, unfortunately. He was having a decent race, around the top 10 he was, so very unfortunate for him. We hope to see him once again in 2 weeks' time. Let me quickly check which race that will be. It will be at the Zaxxon Ring. Always a special race, difficult track, that's for sure, with some very tight sections and very open, wide, fast sections. So we'll have to see which car that suits. In this case, Clive Britton still trying to find a way past Andre Mol. The gap had grown a little bit in the past few laps, but now it's back down to under a second, to under half a second even. Very late braking there for Clive. Tight line through the exit of Rivazza, but it's that initial grunt that we saw already a couple of times in this race, the initial grunt of the Mercedes that manages to just pull them away from their competitors in the acceleration zone out of the slow corners. Makes it difficult to get into the slipstream and to get side by side to line up a pass. Now at this point, tires are getting very, very worn. Race leaders Horvat and Dora are doing 44.5s, also Walby 44.5, and that is almost 2 seconds slower than their fastest lap times. So really starting to struggle with the tires, slower lap times. That is for sure. But with under 5 minutes to go, the guys should have this under control. Clive Britt getting some action here, and Andre Mol, he needs to be careful. I mean, he is in 3rd spot in the AM Cup. That's a podium position for him, and if he somehow gets into an incident with Clive, Mike Wyatt is only 5 seconds behind, 6 seconds, let's say. So he wants to keep this P12 to get some good overall points, but first and foremost, he wants to keep that podium spot for the AM Cup. Our race leader should be coming up on this battle. Maybe, well, we will not have time enough, I think. That's where Clive makes it side by side. Can he make a move into Toza? That will be the question. Talevski there in the red. Corvette is right behind. Is that... yeah, it's Albertini, a lapped car, who is right behind them. So he does seem to have the pace to follow these guys. And trouble Clive a little bit in his rear view mirrors. But, well, I'm placing the bet. I think Clive will get past Andre by the end of the race. Unless he decides to let Albertini past, of course. He's not obligated to do so. Lazarenko in the pits, so he underfueled. Yeah, just a splash and dash for him, and he falls down to last position of the running cars, unfortunately for him, in the BMW. Only 3 BMWs here on the track still here today, so not very well represented. Ben Reynolds and Henk-Jan Stenneker are still going at it. They have been in a battle for almost 40 minutes now. Can Henk-Jan get past Ben Reynolds and set a good example for Clive? They have 1.5 minutes plus 1 lap left. Oh, and a mistake by Reynolds on the grass. Oh, and he gets a tank slapper. Looks like that was induced by Henk-Jan because he slows down for him to return to racing speed in front of him. That's very fair, and that's also what we ask from our drivers. It's a gentleman's rule. If you happen to hit someone while trying to pass and you are at fault, just leave your victim back past. Oh, and that's a better move by Henk-Jan. Still a bit argy-bargy, but a fair move nonetheless, as it gets past Ben Reynolds for P16 with under 1 minute to go. Let's have another look at Clive Britton. He's 4/10 behind Andre Mol, and I fear I might lose this bet, as Clive needs to defend from Albertini, who tries to unlap himself. That's not what Clive wants here. Of course, he wants to get past Andre, but he's losing touch now, unfortunately. Let's have a look where our race leader is. Through Tamburello. So this is the final lap of the race for Robert Horvat, our current race leader, current championship title holder in the GT3 class, and we'll see what that gets him in the standings. Nuno Miguel Abreu dropping down, getting passed by Jack Camiletto and Jas Forsberg. So a mistake for him in the dying stages of this race. Will we see any drama concerning fuel? We'll have to see. Oh, Clive over the curbs, and that's Albertini now on the inside for Rivazza. I think that's game over for Clive. He will not get that P12 of Andre Mol in this race. Meanwhile, Robert Horvat makes it through Rivazza for the very last time in this 90-minute race. Very solid drive by Robert Horvat to kickstart his championship ambitions here in the RRL GT3 Masters. Congratulations, Robert Horvat, for the race win here at the Imola Grand Prix circuit. David Dorre will finish in second. Jürgen Walby will finish in third spot. Not too bad, with his teammate behind him in fourth spot, and Ralph Arella, teammate of Robert Horvat, in fifth. Then it's Nemanja Manojlovic going through Rivazza and getting P6. Jack Camiletto will finish in P7, and that's P2 in the AM Cup, following Jürgen Walby. Jas Forsberg will finish in P8. Nuno Miguel Abreu in P9. Vlastimir Lucas, we followed him around throughout this race. He will finish in P10, followed by Simon Fillingham, Andre Mol and Clive Britton. That gap is a bit too big to still be bridged here in the final corners of the race. Marko Talevski, he will probably finish in P14. Mike Wyatt in P15. Ben Reynolds in front of Henk-Jan Stenneker. He has already finished. He finished in P16. P17 for Stenneker. 18th for O'Brien. Nigel Wood in 19th. Marcin Bos in 20th. Albertini crosses the line in P21. And Yevgeny Lazarenko will be the last driver of the finishing drivers, so all getting laps, or good laps, set towards their Ironman championship in P22. Nuno Miguel Abreu setting the fastest lap, but it's Robert Horvat who is our race winner here today. Here are the complete standings of this race. Very enjoyable racing, very tight throughout the whole field. A couple of mistakes at the front spread that battle out a bit further than we had hoped, but great driving up and down the field nonetheless. And this was round 3 of the RRL GT3 Masters from the Imola Grand Prix circuit. In 2 weeks' time we will be back live from the Sachsenring Grand Prix circuit for another round of this championship, and I hope to see you then. If you like the stream, hit that like button, and of course hit subscribe to get notified of any future videos of RRLeagues.com. If you want to get racing with us in the near future, just look us up on any social media or our website, RRLeagues.com, and get racing with us next week in our BTCC championship, or next Sunday in our DTM championships. New championships will be starting at the beginning of 2020, and more announcements on that, well, when we reach the end of this championship, which is still quite a while, but it will be there very, very quickly. So if you want to already get into the community, get some driving done, get to know the rules and the drivers, just sign up for any of our current championships, and I'm sure you'll get a spot in those. So then all that is left for me to say is thank you for watching, congratulations to Robert Horvat for the race win, and see you in 2 weeks time at the Sachsenring.